আমি অনন্যা।
আমি অনন্যা।
আমি অনন্যা।
আমি অনন্যা।
আমি অনন্যা।
আমি অনন্যা।
নারী অনন্যা, তার পাশে দাঁড়ান, তাকে ঘরে বাইরে অনন্যা হয়ে উঠতে দিন।
এমনটা ভেবেই যে অনন্যা নাম নিয়েছিলাম তা কিন্তু নয়। আমি কেবল ভেবেছিলাম মেয়েদের জন্য একটা কিছু করব, একটা প্ল্যাটফর্ম, একটা আলাদা প্ল্যাটফর্ম, সবার কথা বলবো। প্রায় 3 দশক আগের কথা। তখন ক্ষমতায় ছিল স্বৈরশাসক। মিছিল সমাবেশের উত্তাল সময়, হাটে মাঠে বন্যার পানিতে থই থই। আর দুর্যোগ মানে তো নারীর বড় বিপদ। তাই প্রথম কভার বন্যা নিয়ে। আর আপনি যদি আমার কাছে জানতে চান কেমন সমাজ আমি চাই, কি চায় অনন্যা, তাহলে আমি বলবো, চলুন না সবাই মিলে একটা সমাজ করি, যেখানে নারী পুরুষ সকলেই এক কাতারে হাঁটবেন, একেবারে পাশাপাশি।
Welcome everyone to the weekly program of Anannya Magazine, Shilpokotha. Shilpokotha is a program and a platform where we invite creative practitioners from diverse backgrounds to share their stories into their creative journey. And every Saturday, we bring 2 new speakers with us to share their creative, interesting stories with us. Today also we have 2 exciting guests with us. Let me introduce them and invite them on screen to start the program today. We have Kazi Istela Imam from Dhaka. Oh, sorry. Okay, this is Fidan Akhundova from Berlin. And we also have Kazi Istela Imam from Dhaka with us.
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Fidan?
I'm great, thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you both for joining the show and making some time to share your interesting works and stories.
Thank you
So
for
I'll
having
start. It's a pleasure. So let me start with Fidan. Fidan, where you are now and how you spend your daytime in this pandemic, or anyway.
Right now I'm in Berlin, and I am in very privileged situation because yes, I don't have to work right now, and I can spend my time to write my bachelor, second one, and making a new film, new animation.
Mhm.
So I'm very happy.
Okay, so you are, I should introduce, I mean, you will anyway share your story, but I should mention to the audience who are watching us that you are at the same time an artist, illustrator, art director, and a lot of things you do. And I just got to know you sometimes sing too. That would be interesting to share. So Fidan, are you born and brought up in Berlin?
No, I am from Azerbaijan. I'm from Baku, capital of Azerbaijan, and I live in Berlin since about 7 years in Germany.
And you came here for study, or?
Yes, I came here for study with scholarship, DAAD scholarship, for 2 years master study in art, and then I decided to stay and study education for children until 6. Yes,
Nice.
because it was a very interesting journey from art to teaching, pedagogic. But it gives me a lot to understand psychological problems.
It's a different psychology.
Yes, it was interesting.
We will hear more about that. Let's hear it from Istela. Istela, where you are and how you spend your daily days.
I am in Dhaka. Right now, I mean, it's different how I'm spending my days now compared to like when the pandemic started in the last first half of the year. Now I have taken on whatever work was coming my way, I was like just saying yes to everything. So right now I'm like up to here with deadlines. But it was a very different first half of the year. It was way more relaxed, and I think I was just doing like 1 or 2 projects, and I got to finally take some time back, like kick back a little bit and work on myself and work on things that I've been like putting aside for a very long time. So yeah, that was good. But then I realized, okay, I have bills to pay. So right now, when any project that was coming, I was just like, yes. So I am doing that right now.
All right. Thank you for making time in that busy schedule.
No, I mean, I wouldn't work now. It'd be crazy. I mean, sometimes, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And you are born and brought up in Dhaka?
I was born in Sweden, but that's irrelevant because nothing happened there. But my dad was a sailor, so he was like traveling. He was doing his master's then in Sweden. But yeah, I've been raised in Bangladesh. I was raised in Chittagong, actually, which is a small port city in Bangladesh. And so after my high school there, I was in Thailand for undergrad in visual communication arts. And after that, I've been back in Dhaka since like 2012, doing graphic design and like commercial art and all sorts of things. So yeah,
interesting. You have been sailing quite
in a nutshell.
Quite too. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going back to Fidan. Fidan, tell us about your journey, how it all began in the visual art or the art sector for you.
Okay, I will try to say a short story. Well, I will study in Azerbaijan, in Azerbaijanian Academy of Art, a very classical academy. Like we are drawing people, naked people, and we're drawing some still
lives and figures. Yeah.
Yes. It gives me a lot to understand how can I draw what I want to draw, but we have no philosophical education there. I must say that we students don't learn to think philosophical. And I understood it as I came to Germany to study here master. Because in Germany, students are very philosophical. They're talking and talking and talking and talking. I was in private university, Alanus Hochschule für Kunst und Gesellschaft, for science and anyway, I forgot how
technology.
To say it.
Technology.
I cannot say it.
Okay.
In English, Alanus Hochschule, Alanus University. And it's anthroposophy. It's something absolutely different from anything in art that I learned before.
Anthropology? Is it anthropology?
Not anthropology,
No.
anthroposophy.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's Rudolf Steiner. It's just it's very German theme. Very interesting, and yes, it gives me a lot. I started to read Nietzsche, Kant, and very classical German philosophers. It was a very interesting journey.
Why did you choose to come to Germany? Like from Azerbaijan? I mean, there must be other options, obviously. Why did you choose Germany?
Yes, it's a good question. My uncle was a journalist of art in Germany. He was Azerbaijani, but he went out from Soviet Union. He ran away from Soviet Union, and then he stayed in Munich and wrote about such a ballerina as Maya Plisetskaya, also the people who are to do with art.
Yeah, the creative people. Yeah.
Dancer, musicians, and something. He was a journalist. So as I was a child, he came from Germany with with many presents, And I thought as a child, I thought Germany is a place where Santa Claus comes from. Yes, so I had a very good not
Impression about Germany.
yes, not realistic, but very good impression. That's why I wanted to go to Germany. I wanted to study here, and yes, that was
And that's the beginning, and it's still going on.
yeah.
Nice. Interesting. How did your journey start, Estela? I mean, you went to Thailand, you said, for study, but how did you decide that you want to, study in arts or?
Well, when I was in school, I was always part of the yearbook and newspaper groups, like the after school activities were all like where most of my class would be like the girls would be in like basketball or like volleyball doing like after school sports, but I was more into like drama and yearbook, newspaper. So I mean, I realized that this is what I'm good at, so I should stick to that. Like not try to like delve into things that math wasn't my favorite, and so I wasn't going in that direction for sure. So yeah, and I think it was a pretty easy decision, but it's also like, you know how it is in our culture, like it's such a new thing, like especially when I went to school like 2008 or and so it was like getting my parents on board and like kind of explaining to them that I want to study graphic design. So they're like, okay, how are you gonna make a living out of that? But I mean, now they get it. I mean, it's still obviously like different from a bank job where, you know, you're earning.
You never know.
So they're always like, how are you surviving? Like what are your savings like? I'm like, not something I want to discuss right now, but they do get it. Like they do understand. I think more by seeing me and how passionate I am about it, or like they kind of understand the differentiation between doing something for a living as opposed to doing something that you love and you're passionate about. Yeah. It's not always about like earning money and making a living, which I mean everything comes down to that, but I'm just saying like so that was my big thing at the time, like just getting my parents to be okay with, and they were really supportive. And I think as time went by, the more they see my work here and there in the city or wherever, like they're more supportive about it, and they're more like proud finally. So so that's pretty much how I got into it. I just always knew that I was, this is what I was going to do.
You followed your heart, I guess.
Yeah, so I wouldn't know what else I would do. But interesting, she says, Fidan mentioned education, and that's something I've also been thinking about, just because hanging out with kids is fun. But yeah, maybe down the line, explore.
Yeah, but in graphic design, obviously, you have, again, a lot of things to explore and maybe stick to some of them as your style and everything. So what did you find interesting, or did you find any style or anything that it's your style or your thing?
So I mean,
like
people always go like,
there is graphic design, like the DTP work, there's illustration, animation, and so many things.
So my first job was actually at Dhaka Tribune as a layout. Like I was doing layouts for them, and very soon I realized like that is not something that would be my
comfort zone.
Yeah,
something you feel good about.
Like, yeah. You try different things, and you're like, okay, this is not for me.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think style-wise, I mean, I don't know about Fidan, but like I'm always trying to figure it out. Like I'm always like, I'm never really comfortable in like, is this my style? But although people go like, whenever I see your work, I can like recognize it, like it's yours. But in graphic design, it's different because you're working for a client, so you have to like be really, just follow their brief. But even then, I guess there's a distinct style that everybody has, but yeah.
But over the year, you always, I will go. Over the year of your practice, I think we all start to realize that, okay, like this is my kind of work. Like when I will show both of your works, it will show the distinctive differences, I guess.
Yeah.
But let's ask to Fidan. What do you find more comforting, or would you enjoy doing more, Fidan, in your practices?
I absolutely agree with Estella. When I'm making an illustration, it's most of the time it's order. So I cannot do everything that, how I want to do it. But yes, I have no style. Absolutely, I'm just.
Oh, you
No, I
have.
think
You
that's
definitely
really
have.
good.
Estella,
Yeah.
that goes for you
Really?
too.
Yeah, people say that, and I'm like, but I guess what I was trying to say is I'm trying to like always be like, okay, I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna be something else now. But I
But
could
still,
never
there
break
is a
out of it.
distinctive way. Everybody will recognize you. I mean, you don't recognize that about yourself, like Fidan doesn't about herself. But there is a distinctive style, Fidan.
Yeah, for sure.
I always I'm just trying to do everything that I'm interested in. Blah, blah, blah. So
You feel excited about
I'm trying to make pictures with oil drawings, and I'm trying to make a digital art with Photoshop, and then sculpture. I'm just trying to. It's very
You're
interesting.
experimenting.
Yes, experimenting, to use new techniques to understand how does it works. And animation, right now I did my first animation. It was my first experience. It's very
And
interesting.
it became the winner in Azerbaijan. And
Yes, right.
What is that? Tell us about it.
I did my first animation. It's about 2 minutes. It's very short. And I decided to send it to festivals, about 10 or 15 festivals in many countries. And then in Azerbaijan, I sent it also, and then I won the first prize as a best Azerbaijani short animation in 2020.
Okay, let's look at the
Okay.
trailer, right? And then we have a question in the comment.
I don't know if you heard it. Do you hear it?
Yeah.
What's
Yeah.
going
Yeah.
on right now?
Yeah, we hear you singing. Do you know, Estella, it is her voice?
So, okay.
It's her voice.
Okay.
She's singing.
There are a lot of autos right now, cars outside
Yes.
that making beep, 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 beep. Do you hear that?
That's perfect. That's
Oh.
perfect. That's perfect for Estella's work. I'll show you just
okay.
right away. That's perfect for the show. But we have a question in the comment. Muhammad Nafisur Rahman is asking, what is the difference between graphic design and graphic art? Curious to know. Who wants to answer that?
Fidan, I feel like you have an answer. Yeah.
I don't know. It's a very difficult question. It's a very difficult question.
I think is it like graphic art? Just do you mean by digital art? Like that's different as well. Whereas graphic design is always has a little bit like functionality to it, right? I would say so. Graphic design is something that you're doing so that I don't know, a brand or a product works better or looks better.
Yes.
As opposed to graphic art, which would be just for me, it'll be like digital illustration. I'd call it graphic art.
From my educational background, which is also graphic design.
Right.
So we three are from graphic design.
Yes.
What we understand is we have also another understanding. Graphic design is more like the planning, which Stella was trying to say. It's about not only about the digital work. It's also about the planning, the artwork. Also in graphic art, the printmaking was previously known as graphic art.
Right.
So graphic art is the printed version of the work. It comes not the digital print always from the machine, the printmaking machine that comes out. So that's also a way to differentiate things. Fidan, do you want to add something to it?
I agree absolutely. I just want to say that sometimes graphic design looks so interesting, so arty that you cannot change it. I know you cannot change it. You cannot say it's only design, only design.
Signing is
I mean,
all
it
about
sounds
the planning also. Yeah.
confusing.
Yes, but this is true. It's more like Estella said. It's more. It has functionality. I would say the same.
Estella, it reminds me of one of your work, which is very functional in the Corona time. Let's look at yeah.
Okay.
Let's look at that work. Let's look at Estella's work.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So when did you do it?
Well, smack in the middle of the pandemic, I think. But I mean, I always, we're always into like puns. Me and my friends are always trying to like create stupid puns out of words.
Interesting.
So yeah, I was just like, and constantly there was a time, you're always asking like, did you sanitize? Did you sanitize? And then everybody was also like, oh, what are you guys doing to keep sane? On social media, they'll be like, how are you staying sane during this time? And I was like, sanitizer, and so yeah, this was actually animated by a friend called Fahim. I drew it and I like sent it to him, and he was like, oh, he was really excited. So it was a collab. So he animated it and I illustrated it. So, yeah.
Okay. So we have another comment from the same person. I was curious to know, are you guys in design practice? There are branches like VCD, graphic design, commodities, etc.
Communication design. I think.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. How do you distinguish them?
Oh, what's VCD? There's graphic design and visual communication design. I don't think you can. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. We can spend all the time trying to like just distinguish them, but I think they all overlap.
Distinguish them through the name, through their appearance. Right? Like some graphic design material is printed, so we call them all under the DTP, desktop publishing.
Okay.
And then visual communication involves sometimes audiovisual. What do you say, Fidan? Do you want to answer anything on this?
I have no idea. Was GDM or the GD? CD?
GD is, I think,
graphic design, and then communication design.
Okay,
which is also like branding design, I would say, is communication.
Publicity campaign.
I don't work in this. I did logos for one company in Azerbaijan, but that's all.
Yeah.
That's like my primary bread and butter right now.
Yeah, I think both of you do that kind of work mostly to survive, sustain. And I think you also have a very personal practice, both, and for Nafisur Rahman, who is having the question. These are very interesting questions, Nafisur Rahman. But I think both of them also have a very strong personal practices, their own styles that we started discussing. We will be sharing more and more on that. But of course, questions are welcome if you want to place more. So we were talking about Estela, who left. Okay. Welcome back, Estela.
Yeah, it's just
the question were not that hard. That you just
I was like, I can't answer these questions.
No, please. The questions are most welcome from everyone.
Kidding.
So once we show some of your works, though, they will also understand. Like, I want to start with some of your illustration work. You have been working with some books, right, Estela?
Yes,
So when did that began, or like since when you started working with book? I'm just gonna randomly show some of
Okay.
your works?
Well, I mean, the first book that I did was the Bangladeshi version of Rebel Girls, which is her
Oh,
story.
Wow.
Wait, which one? Okay, yeah. So this is part of the Her Story book
That's nice.
series. So the books are basically they feature women trailblazers of our country. So it's like illustration on one side, and then the story of the person in the other side. So this book, I designed the cover as well as like some of the layouts inside as well, and the illustrations. So this was a collaboration of around 30 illustrators inside. So like each chapter was done by a different illustrator, and then this was my illustration for those. Wow, why am I blanking? Firdaus Rahman.
Yes.
Right? Yeah, and it's this, like we've grown up watching her on TV doing Eshogan Shiki. So when I saw her, I was like, this is who I want to illustrate. So there's a Bangla version and an English version of this. My work, usually, I really like text, so I'm always looking for ways to put typography in there. So yeah, that's how this ended up looking like it is.
All right. So for Fidan, it's an iconic person basically in Bangladesh who you grew up watching on television. So before, way before this pandemic time and the digital life that we have now as a new normality, she was having this online, like telecasted classroom
Music.
where you could, learn singing and everything. So
Okay.
very iconic. So we have another comment. Greetings from India, care to moderators and speakers. We are curious if speakers like to share their inspiration from woman designer in contemporary time. Let's hear about that. Your inspiration from women designers in contemporary time. Both are going, okay.
I mean, there's like so many now. There's like overload of, for me, it's like overload of people that I follow or like or idolize. It's
So do you find a lot of women designer in Bangladesh or in Asia? Where do you find this inspiration from? What is the scene? Maybe you share, and then Fidan can also share from her side, from Azerbaijan and Berlin.
Interestingly enough, for me, it's like the women designers I know, the circle I have here, I think we're constantly being inspired by each other because everyone's doing such amazing work, and yeah, I would say that's.
So there is a huge number of women designers.
I would say it's huge,
but not a bad number, I guess.
I mean, definitely more than what it was 10 years ago for sure. More and more women than men, I would say, for designers, at least for graphic designers or like illustrators. I think I follow more women. That's what I wanted to say. It's not like there are more women, but
no, it's very inspiring, actually.
Yeah, it is. It really is, and that's how, like, when we started Milkshake, like that was one of the. So we started this like collective where it was a collection of like 15 to 20 artists. We got together and just made prints and merchandise and sold, like kind of like an art fair. So it was like one of the first of its kind around like 3 or 4 years ago. So that's when I like came in contact with so many people, and I had no idea before that. Actually, before that, it was through this Invisibella's project that I started under Global Shapers, which is a street art project. But yeah, that's when I came in contact with so many, and I was like just so inspired, like know them. And after that project, it was like this big family of people I know, and they wanted to work more and more together. So that's how like we were like, okay, let's throw an art fair and like keep doing things together. So
fantastic. Right. What about you, Fidan?
Designers.
Is it hard to name them?
I don't follow designers. I love a lot of woman artists in sculpture or in visual art, and I must say it's just great that yes, as Estela said, it's for 10 years it wasn't
that much.
That much. Tendency is very fast in this way. So there are a lot of women in art, in any kind of art right now.
Right.
Yes.
So it's good to hear from Istela that there are, I think, a good number. When I was talking with Istela, also I was talking about other illustrator. When I start digging, about artists, it
You
was
must know
really
a lot
interesting.
by now, like with this tool show.
Yeah, it was very inspiring. I didn't knew there will be this much of number actually, because a lot of artists basically comes out from the academy and then they get into the DTP practice and then somehow can't fit into the advertising agency always. Very few of them,
Which is
stick
why
to the
I've
advertising
avoided
agency.
that. I've avoided
Yeah.
that agency scene very
Most of the
strongly.
female designer or artists don't feel, being in that place rather than having their own practices. And you get into a box. So I was really excited to see so many practitioners.
Am I still here? Yeah.
No, you're on a black screen. I was just about to talk about your work. Are you there, Fidan? Okay, I'll quickly read another comment. There are so many designers like hand painting in our women and e-commerce forum in Bangladesh. It's from Sumaya Siddiqui. I don't know if you know.
Oh, it's just a comment.
Okay. Do we have Fidan? Fidan, are you here with us?
Right now, I'm coming.
She's back.
Oh, okay. Your video is turned off. Oh, the traffic sound. Okay, once she comes, I hope the traffic sound comes back so I can discuss your work with Stella. So, Fidan,
Yes.
you're turning off your camera, Fidan. It's black again.
Oh, I'm here.
No, you're not. Don't do anything with your screen.
I see myself. I'm here.
Yes, don't touch it. Don't touch the screen. Okay, Fidan. Talking about women and in designing, in art, like you were saying also, when I show your work, I see a lot of you in them, in your work as the female. How did that begin? I'll show some of your work from your website, and also there is a lot of self-portrait and you in the atmosphere. Tell us about that.
As I started in Azerbaijan, I always heard that from my boyfriend or from, he's also artist, or from other people there, woman cannot be an artist. It was about 10
in
years.
Azerbaijan, you heard this.
It was about 10 years ago. Right now, it's absolutely another situation. 10 years makes a lot. As I studied there, it always like woman can be an artist, woman have to do this and that, and very
Stereotypical. Yeah.
And I wanted to understand, what is it art? Why does it privilege for a man to do anything in art? And with this question, I came to Germany actually, and. Yes, my self-portraits are, most of them are just search about myself, who I am, or why right now I feel like this, or in another way. It's just a search about myself as a person.
Yeah, and I see different patterns here. And in terms of color, was there a conscious choice of bluish tone or a bit darker tone, sometimes a bit sadic, like the work that I showed? This one is very lovely, the suicide one. What was happening with those?
Well, I must say it's very hard for a region to live in another country. It doesn't matter if it's Germany, USA, or Russia, or somewhere else. And when you came to another country and stay here to live, it's very hard. 2 years are very hard. first 2 years. So I had a depression, and I was trying to fight it with pictures, with drawing pictures,
Paintings.
with paintings. And it's interesting. I didn't know that. I searched then in internet and figured out that Picasso, he used this blue color also in his pictures in one
Yes,
period.
the blue period. The blue period. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know
And very
why.
interesting. Look at this.
And from psychology way, it's just because of people who are drawing and who has a depression, they use blue color. I didn't know this fact. So
that's interesting.
Yes.
So it had happened subconsciously that you were using blue.
Seems like that.
It was a period of time I used only blue. It just was a deep
depression time.
Depression, right? But I don't use this color anymore. I don't feel like that it's my color.
That's why I asked you. You know, in this self-portrait section, I only saw this darker or a bit sadder tones, but your illustrations are very colorful. I will go to those works. Let's look at some. Once we are out of this depression mood now, because we're all three are very happy, let's look at some very colorful works from Istela. Istela, how do you manage colors? Tell us that.
I mean, I it's interesting what she said about like connecting depression with colors. This particular one was me coming out of that. So now even when I go to my Instagram, there's like a pale pastel range. Like some of my work, like
I don't know if I'm putting the right one, but I'm just randomly putting some of your work. Yeah.
This has to do with mostly my head just being clogged and scatterbrained. But yeah, I mean, colors. How do I manage colors? I mean, I would say it has a lot to do with mood for sure. Now, like I am all about that hot pink, but like when I first started, like some of my previous work, I was not in the best place, and they are also like very pale and pastel range. They weren't exactly blue, but like very pastel and like muted colors, as opposed to now, which is like on your face. So I definitely see that in my work. So this is my thesis work where I did experimental illustrations with music, like songs, and they're each of them are songs from Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon album, and this one's Eclipse. So so yeah, they're all with like experimentation on Xerox machines. So I would like move around objects and like see what kind of effects come out and sort of do collages with them. This is Money. This is also part of the series.
Yeah. So do you work a lot with hand and?
Yeah, I like that. That's what ideally that's what I want to do, and like stop doing graphic design. Ideally, I want to establish myself as an artist and like take time to experiment, do these kind of like big collage work with paint and all of that stuff. But I don't get the liberty and time to do that right now. And I'm just trying to figure out how I can do that as well as like sustain myself. So I think that is a struggle that kind of has been going on for a while. I should be able to figure it out by now, but haven't. But we'll see.
Yeah, take time. There's no fixed time for anything, I guess.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know, like socially, I feel this pressure to have everything figured out, but also like trying to be like, hey, you know, everything.
You can't force it. You just can't force it. So let's look at some of the colorful works from Fidan also. We quickly will go there. And I'm just trying to open the website and look at some of the illustrations. Fidan, are these illustrations mostly done in Azerbaijan or in Berlin?
Most of them are done in Azerbaijan. This is in Azerbaijan. I worked for publishers there for 7 years. I started and worked for publishers in the same time, so I So I earned my money for my German course. It was very expensive there in Azerbaijan.
Nice.
Of course.
Yes.
Is this you?
Yeah, that's me.
Can I ask a quick question to Fidan?
Oh, please,
About-
go on.
About just like pricing and
Yeah.
how did you find it difficult? Like, I don't know what the scene in Azerbaijan is about people valuing art and paying the amount that you would. I mean, how is that a struggle? Like, how did you educate your client, or like, did you have to, or they valued it to whatever you thought it was?
In Azerbaijan, it's very cheap to make an illustration for a journal or for a magazine. It's you earn very small money.
The payment is small, yeah.
Very
I
small.
think there are a lot of similar things with Bangladesh.
Yeah.
I think it's like that, yeah.
Yes, but for me it was a Überraschung, surprising that in many countries it's the same. In White Russian or in Russian, it's not expensive at all. So illustrators don't earn money much, especially when she or he works for a magazine, children magazines or something. For branding a product, then you can earn money.
Publicity campaign works, yeah.
Yes.
Makes sense. Like commercial works.
Yes, but for example, I was very young. I was happy that I have this job. I was 20, 21, 22, and I was happy that I have this job. I always think about this. I don't do it for these 1, 2, 3 euros or something.
Yeah.
I just want to do work and show it, post it on my website, and this is my face. I have no rights to make it bad, so it doesn't matter how they pay. I would pay it, and I can show my work as my work.
Yeah. So all these illustrations are mostly done for kids books or magazines.
Yes.
So
most of them.
You have a larger interest or passion for, I think, illustrations for kids.
Yes.
If I look at one of your work also, would you like to share something about this?
I did this illustration actually for my. I study right now, and I have to write an exam about jurisprudence, about rights.
Rights. Okay.
UN Convention.
Oh, UN Convention. Okay, yeah.
And inclusion. So I had to write this exam for my professor, and I'm not German native speaker. So I thought, how can I do it? Okay, I will do my best with German language and something, but I must show him that I can do anything else. I'm an illustrator, I'm an artist and something. And I draw this illustration on the top of my exam.
Nice.
So it shows the inclusiveness of all kind of kids in all cultures.
In Germany.
So a very short question, Fidan. We have so many other works to share, of course. But when you illustrate, does your Azerbaijan culture affects or how do I reflects in your work? Because the culture in Berlin, the attire, the dressing is very different. The social culture in Azerbaijan is very different. Right. So what do you reflect in your work? Does that inspire you, or what it is?
I will say, I don't feel that it's that Azerbaijan culture shows in my pictures. Also, I don't think that it influenced me.
Influence me. It doesn't influence you.
I don't think so. Yes, but I think when people see my pictures, they see something from my culture. Maybe it's just maybe I don't understand that, but it influence my work. But personally, I don't feel like this.
You consciously don't do it, but
No.
when people look at your work, they do feel some of it.
Yeah.
So that's another subconscious part. I guess that is obvious to come because your larger part of your life has been spent there, and it will.
That's true. But my mother tongue is Russian. I have so many cultures in me: Jewish, Russian, Azerbaijan. I feel like nowhere is my home country, and everywhere is my home country.
You feel inclusive. That's the best part.
Yes, it's really true. That's why it's always mixture. That's what I'm doing. It's always mixture, I think. Yes.
Thank you. So I'll go to Istela's work. So again, I think Istela, in most of your work, we can see typography. Very interesting typography. The thesis works that we were looking at, and other works just on screen. I'm going to put here. We also see a lot of typography work, and so it was a very conscious thing that you started with typography, or how was your journey in that? I'm randomly showing some of the works with typography.
Yeah, I think I struggle with words. I'm not very articulate. Like I was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this? You know, because sometimes I speak fast, I don't have the right words. So it's always been one of those things, like when people write really well and when they speak really well, I've always been very jealous. Like, I don't know how to do that. But I've also, which is why I use words in my work, and I like play of words. Like this poster, for example, like, you know, ka, the letter ka in our alphabet, all the questions start with it. Like, you know how like W in English, like where, when, why, all of
what,
that. So in Bangla, it's like keno, kothay, kokhon, like all the questions. So I call it the curious case of ka. So like the kotuhali ka, the curious case of ka. So it's like, I like coming up with these like play on words and connecting it to like Bangla, or arekta mathay asche ekhon notun is the positive pa. So party, parbo, you know. So yeah, this is another one. So doyalu is generous. So so all the words that have to do with giving are with da.
Okay. And then you also incorporate typography in everything, I guess, because for many period of time, I thought, you know, Istela is a typography artist. She's specialized in typography. And then I got to know other works of you, like this portrait, and then it turned into this with a lot of typography in this. So it's very interesting.
I like writing because I can't actually write, so I like writing words.
Okay, it's very interesting. I'll just quickly show what else. Another portrait with a lot of typography, and then as we are getting still the sound of, you know, traffic. I don't know. I mean, I didn't expect that so much traffic sounds to come from Berlin, at least, but. I mean, you'll know what I'm talking about, Fidan, when we show the work of Istela. Istela is excited already.
I couldn't sleep because of traffic sounds last night. So
we will show the video also very quickly. So let's hear about this, Istela.
Did I share the original work of this? So this is a printed version, which was actually like a collage done with photos I've taken in old Dhaka. So yeah.
This one?
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, Sadya, you would understand the relationship we have with our city.
For like, Fidan and others who are watching from other countries. Traffic is hectic. Like traffic is deadly in Dhaka. I mean, we cross 7 kilometer in 1.5 hour, 2 hours is the normal duration you take.
Okay.
So that's how the traffic is, and it's sound, and it's a lot of different vehicles not maintaining the traffic rules, and a lot of things. So whatever you see in the work, it combines all of the chaos. I'll quickly play the video. Istela, carry on.
Yeah. So no, it's that I've always focused on this relationship we have with our city, which is like love and hate. Like we love it, we hate it, and it's always that being in the middle of that. So and finding things we hate and making art from that. So that was kind of like where that came from, like jam. And I guess if you show the Dhaka jam later on, like that's another, you know, extension of that, kind of like laughing at the whole situation and making like a
Dhaka
joke.
jam is the traffic jam.
So
if we on screen, do the screen on, and interestingly, you have a recipe for the Dhaka jam. Can you tell us about that?
Actually, that is written by my work partner at the time, Katerina. So she and I used to collaborate, and we worked together for 6 years. So when I came up with the Dhaka jam illustration, and she was like, "Oh, we should do a recipe." So we used to work kind of like an artist copywriter sort of collaboration partnership. So yeah, she actually wrote that.
So it has cows and
elephant. I always try to point that out.
It's quite similarly hilarious like the actual traffic, but yeah, we don't have cows or elephant, thank God.
I mean, there's sometimes there's elephant. There's one.
Oh yeah, there is actually.
Yeah.
So just to give all of you the flavor of Dhaka jam.
It's very nice. Looks very, very, very nice.
Let's hear it. So this is what it looks like, sounds like, Fidan, and everybody.
I have to mention that the animation again was not done by me; it was done by Valga's friend in England. But yeah, there was a collaboration where I did the illustration.
Yeah, the illustration is lovely.
Very nice.
Thank you.
I can feel the spirit.
Yeah, it kind of like rings in your head and stays for a while.
So let's hear very quickly about your sculpture works, Fidan, as we have seen.
Those are beautiful, by the way.
Yeah, let's hear about those sculptures.
Thank you.
Fidan, can you see the work on screen?
Yes.
Yeah. Would you like to say something about this?
Yes, this is my first work as I came to Germany. This is in Köln, in Cologne city, in Germany, in one gallery. I felt myself like this woman on the top of this mountain, and like I ran away from this patriarchal country and came to my own way. And I didn't think about that as I did this sculpture. I just wanted to manipulate this material and do something from it.
What was the material?
This is a styropor. I don't know how to say it. It's a white plastic.
Acrylic?
No. People use this to make a package safe.
Oh, like styrofoam.
Cockpit. Styrofoam. Yeah.
Styrofoam.
How did you make the sculpture of the person?
The sculpture on the top is from another material. It's a mixture from clay and paper, cellulose. I don't know how to say it in English.
All right.
So it's easier to make it to sculpt, to model.
So I'm picking another woman's story from Istela's work.
Interesting.
Sorry, 1 second. Estela, we will be almost ending this episode. I mean, just imagine, we just started talking, it feels like, and it's almost 1 hour. So let's hear about this illustration, Istela.
So this is for another extension of her story, which was, her story is that whole like Bangladesh version of Rebel Girls for, what's the book? Anyway, so it's all it features women trailblazers of Bangladesh, kind of like letting little girls know that we have such powerful Bangladeshi women heroes.
Women in work,
heroes. So this was on Marina Tabassum, who is this amazing architect that we have, has built a beautiful mosque, also our National Museum, right? And this is part of that.
Liberation Museum.
And so yeah, this was like a separate booklet that was done on her, and I needed to make 5 illustrations to kind of show how she started, how she used to dream about building structures that are not like the typical commercial buildings that we have, but like something different and plays with light and air and natural elements. And so yeah, this is Baitur Roof Mosque, which has like holes on the top, on the ceiling, which has rays of light that comes in and it falls really beautifully. So it kind of shows that environment.
Yeah, cool. There is also a small video, I guess, where you explained a lot how what color pattern and how did you do it. I think if people comment on the live, you can share it directly to them. Also, I can share it. Just because we will get out of time. It's something 4 minutes or something. That's why I'm not showing it right now.
By the way, this is my mom commenting.
Sweet. Okay. So on the last note, very quickly, I'll ask the two of you, any notes about this pandemic, or what do you think is the new normal is already running in our life. So there's no like meaning of asking, what do you think is the new normal is going to be? But how do you think this new normal is, evolving in us, or we are evolving in the new normal? If Istela, you can start, and then I'll ask the same thing from Fidan.
How are we evolving? I hope people have evolved. I mean, I have. I think this was like my year of growth the most compared to any other year, for sure. As a country, I hope we've evolved in terms of like hygiene and all these like basic things that we should be more aware of that we weren't, I guess. Also valuing just happiness and like peace and health. Oh my gosh, I think health more than anything. My parents have gone through Corona themselves, and I had, I've talked to you about it, and I've had like a hell of a month. So I think valuing that, even for me, like valuing health and like my peace of mind more than anything else. I think it's the biggest change I have experienced, and I think most people I speak to have agree as well. Like that has been the biggest takeaway.
Thank you. What about you, Fidan?
It's very embarrassing because of Corona, I have a very good year. I am so sorry.
I hear you.
Many had, I guess.
It's a mix, but it's mostly great.
I feel myself every time I go to cafe and drink or eat something anywhere. I just feel myself bad because I am very happy, and I use this time to work endlich to work
more
with my
productively.
art. Yes, I can use this time. Before I couldn't do that. I had to go to work and making this and this, and now I can do what I want to do.
That's
because
good.
of Corona.
Yeah, something positive out of this, pandemic and the scary things. I think many people actually got the good side of it also. At the beginning, it was too much scary, and now when everybody is getting used to it, understanding it. So on that note,
privilege was a big one. Like really understanding how privileged we are to like enjoy this social distancing and all of that.
In many things, true, it is true. By showing the mental health video from Istela, I'll end today's episode. Thank you very much, both of you, for sharing your work. I'm sure there are a lot more works to share and talk. I saw people being curious more to talk about this kind of work. So I hope I will invite you again someday in this year or next year. But thank you for all your time. Take care.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for this event.
Thank you. Stay well. Thank you, everyone, for being with us. We will come back again next Saturday, 9 p.m. with new artists, new creative stories. Stay tuned.